Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the 5th episode. So we did have a little bit of a change in the way that we ordered our episodes for this season. Initially, the first half was supposed to have 5. It did have 4. So this half, we're going to have 6. And this is the 5th episode in total. And as promised, we have brought back Tamia, Mia for the part 2 because last episode we had a lot to talk about. But before, we do a little brief recap. Yes, we have Mia back, but we also have an additional special guest, Caleb Robbins. So, Mia, if you could reintroduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Tamia, or you can call me Mia, and it's great to be back on part 2. Yeah.
Happy to have you back as always. And
thank you.
Caleb, if you want to give us a little introduction to you.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Caleb. I've been living in New York for a couple of years now. I work as an actor and, just very happy to be here.
Awesome. Super happy to have you both. So great to meet you. As we all know, Mia's a longtime friend of mine. So I've heard lovely things about you. And so it's great to have you on the podcast and also just meet you in general.
Absolutely. Same for you.
Thank you. But okay, so just as a brief recap, if you didn't see the last episode with Mia, we talked a lot about your experiences with being an onstage swing and touring, and just learning how to advocate for yourself, especially as one of the few Black actresses on your cast, and also just being blindsided by some last minute performance changes and how that was something that you navigated, and also just navigating community and collaborating with others, especially in some more vulnerable situations.
Correct.
And then you also left us off with some really great advice and reflection and preparation that you went through. So we're kind of picking up from there with this section. And I think where we left off was you started talking a little bit more about typecasting and your experience with backstage and using that platform.
Yeah.
And I'd love to hear from the both of you about what that has looked like recently, especially with all the things that have been changing, and especially in the arts world. Given a certain leader.
Correct.
Yeah. So what has that experience has it changed at all? What does it look like for the both of you?
For me personally, backstage is still very dry for the Black hand side, So it's still the same. Hasn't changed yet, in my opinion. But yeah.
Okay. Heard the yet,
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say sometimes it feels like you feel like you're seeing progress get made and certain steps get taken towards more inclusion and just more inclusive considerations when it comes to casting, because you'll see things in listings where it's people of all ethnicities, all races are welcome to apply, and it even sometimes feels like character descriptions are hinting at someone, a character being of a certain race or ethnicity or something like that. And so I've in those situations been I'm not going to apply because it doesn't really feel like it's meant for someone like me to apply, even though it says it's open. And so I won't apply thinking that's what the implication is anyway. And then all of a sudden you see the cast list come out for that project. And all of a sudden I'm you just, okay, you made me think that you were going to go a more diverse route, and then you kind of just went back to your typical we got to have something that's widely marketable, and it's always just said as something that's just so problematic. And yeah.
Oh wow.
And yeah, I know what show you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like this is also that's kind of a new perspective of it's the typecasting they're putting out is just for show and not even
yeah, correct.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I think what we talked about last time is they were being very specific and being clear about somebody with European descent or whatever, and then it's oh, actually no, we want a diverse cast, and then that's not what they're giving.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's so interesting to hear is
especially when the message of the show is also about inclusivity and just welcoming a wide range of types of people all coming together, and then you see the cast doesn't even reflect that. And so it's how are you supposed to be able to share that message with an audience when you're cast is all just kind of the same, you know, not very diverse.
Correct. And then they have like the one black token, and it's like, really? Okay.
And then you're like, my thoughts and prayers to that one person. I hope that they feel all right in that situation.
Yeah.
Fair. That, and you kind of talked about it a little bit with like, was it like your first tour with Daniel Tiger, and it was you and one other black swing?
The first, me and Tyrell.
Yeah. That's, oh wow.
Yeah.
Having a sing.
Yeah, correct.
Can you like both talk a little bit more kind of like about what seeing or like experiencing that, or not necessarily like being that, because we did talk about that last episode, but about like the application process and audition process of like dealing with these auditions, or like I guess ruling out, you know, what feels comfortable for you to audition for or even apply for, given the constraints that like shows have.
So yeah, I still like go for like auditions where it says like it's all diverse and everything, and like personally it's just a lot of self-tapes. And I genuinely do not like self-tapes, because like you can't see the person, like the personality from the person as soon as they walk in, like the smile on their face. They're just instantly stating their name, where they're from, and then like they just jump into the song. And like for me personally, I don't like that. I need to be in person. I need you to see me, like to see my personality, to see that like I can give more than just sit on the camera and sing. So as of right now, it's a lot of self-tapes. And I personally do not like that. I'm like, please, like just call me in, tell me you're at said studio, and I will like walk in. So that's just a problem for me as of right now. And then again, with what you were just saying, they claim it's diverse and it's really not diverse. So it like kind of hurts. And I'm like, you basically lied in my face, giving me a like hope that I could potentially get in, because like you're looking for diversity and then you're not. So then like it sometimes become like disheartening, like, you know, and like you kind of like want to like just give up and just like move on, like maybe I should just switch career paths. And yeah, that's like me as of right now. Yeah. So
given the fact that a lot of places are like kind of being discouraged from having inclusive anything, is that something that you're seeing where it's like, of course it's performative, but are you seeing like a rise in that?
A little bit, yeah. Me personally, I am seeing that just a little bit. I haven't been talking about it too much, but yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That, yeah, I can understand why that's disheartening, because like this is your field, this is what you're in.
Exactly.
What about like you on your end? Because I know you mentioned that like has deterred you from.
Well, yeah, and sometimes it just feels like when it comes to telling certain stories, like of course we're all actors, and you don't have to have lived every experience to be able to play a character that has certain experiences. But especially when you talk about things like race, like it's like you can't just cast someone of a different race to play someone, like it's like, because that's like you don't have those experiences, you can't speak on that experience, and it's just problematic in so many ways. And like I remember I auditioned for a project like a year and a half ago that there was no description anywhere of this character being gay. And so I applied, I did a monologue, I got to like the last round of callbacks, and they finally said, just in preparation for this last round, here's the full script of the show, just to give you some better context of the character you're auditioning for. And you find out this character is gay, and it's actually like quite central to this character's like arc. And nowhere in the sides that I had done leading up to that had that ever been mentioned, so I had no idea. And then all of a sudden, like I'm excited about this project, because I feel like I actually feel like I kind of like I like what this play is saying, like in its message, and I also just like this character, and I feel like I could do it well, until I learn about this, and I'm like, well, as someone who's not gay, and then like there's no way I could step into that role and first of all do it justice, and second of all feel confident in myself to kind of be taking away that opportunity of someone who actually is of that community to be able to tell their own type of story. And so I had to message back the creative team like in response to like, are we going to see you on Tuesday at this time for this? And I'm like, no, I'm going to be backing out. And I really hope that some of the other people you're seeing for this role actually are appropriate, because I'm not. And it kind of is disheartening to see that you almost tried to like hide that fact, you know, so that like in the name of inclusivity of like everyone can come on by. I'm like, no, you need to be specific about these things.
Yeah.
And like it's not uninclusive to make those specifications, you know?
Yeah.
And so I've seen a couple of projects like that where like they aren't forthcoming with all of the necessary information. And it's hard too, because then when you get into conversations about like what new administrative people want to see in terms of like, we want our shows and our messages to be applicable to everyone. And I'm like, well, that doesn't mean every show and every project and every message you're trying to say has to appeal to everyone. It just means you need to have different projects that can address different things.
Yeah.
You know? And it feels like no one really understands that. And so when they see one project that might not appeal to everyone, they're like, you're not being inclusive. And I'm like, no, we actually are.
Right.
It's just this specific message isn't meant for you.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, that.
Yeah.
A word.
I sign it all off with, I don't know though. You know, I'm just
Like,
one.
He's like, listen,
one
don't take my
person's
word
opinion.
for it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just saying.
No, but like, I definitely agree with the point of you can't obviously cater to everybody, but the part of inclusivity is the fact that it is inclusion. So of course, if there's a program or a show that doesn't, you know, fit your cup of tea, then that isn't your cup of tea. There are other shows that obviously do and that maybe you can relate to, but not everything is going to relate to you. And the reason for inclusion is the fact that there is a lack of inclusivity. So of course, that one show out of the like, I don't know, 10 isn't going to kill you.
Yeah.
Correct.
And a lot of people, audience-wise, have an issue separating those things. But then even on the production side, whether it's acting or whatever other discipline that you're in, whether it's like music, dance, there's also that fear of like, oh, well, if we don't make this program inclusive to everybody that everybody can enjoy, then we're not going to maintain the support. And it's like, no, you're going to receive the support from the people that it's geared towards.
Yeah.
But you have to produce it. Like, it has to exist.
And there seems to be like a lack of understanding that while this one project doesn't appeal to you, that one project could be the world to someone of a marginalized group that it's meant to be speaking towards, you know, or giving a voice to and lifting up. And I feel like no one ever wants to step outside of their own perspective and try to understand why there might be value in promoting a story or a message or a project like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's validity to it, but you have to be willing to produce it, willing to watch it, willing to be in it, depending on what it is. And also kind of like how you're doing, being aware of like, is this appropriate for me to be in if it doesn't already even read like I'm supposed to be in it?
Exactly.
Or like, this is my story to tell.
Yeah.
And I mean, is that also something that you've seen like amongst your peers where, you know, they might be taking a role that you're like, oh, should you be taking that?
I haven't seen anyone. Yeah. So, you know, I have
We
a
love
good group,
that.
right? No, yeah, I haven't seen it. So they've all been taking the roles that have been appropriate to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then there is even things of like things that have kind of been accepted as being mainstream and acceptable, but still have problematic things to them that you're like, I mean, a job is a job, but like, I know that there are different people, there are different groups of people who think different ways about shows. Like if you want to bring up like the Book of Mormon and how it's like, it's very commercial, it's very mainstream. And yet also like it gets very stereotypical in the way that Black people, especially people from Africa, are portrayed. And at the same, but like, and I understand people are like, but it's a job. And I'm like, no, yeah, it's a job. And like, if you feel comfortable doing that, I guess I can't tell you anything, but also like, it's a decision every performer kind of has to make for themselves of like, of course you're trying to build up your career and climb this totem pole, I guess you could call it. But you also have to be mindful of like how the projects you're involved in depict people and what kind of messages they share. And even though it's in the name of comedy, are there certain lines that you still should be mindful to not cross? Yeah.
Even that early in your career, like
Exactly.
Yeah. I think we've also seen a rise of that happening with like bigger actors now that like you know, people are like, oh, this person's such a great actor, woo 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 woo, and then you go back and look at
Stuff
their
they were
history.
in. Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr.
You know?
See, everyone brings up Tropic Thunder.
Like, he's the first person I think of like, oh,
Right.
this movie wasn't great. But I am gonna pivot just a little, although we're still kind of in the topic of like things that you're seeing and realizing, like morals essentially that you're talking about within your career. Like, what are, I guess, some of the lessons that you've learned or are learning as you navigate like your careers both as actors?
How we're navigating through life as actors, or
like the lessons that you've learned like as you're navigating it.
I just have to learn to let things go. Just let it go and move on. Again, what is for you will be meant for you. And I'm a person who trusts in God. So, like, he'll show me if this was not meant for me, and it's okay. Like, my time is coming, and I just have to be patient. And I'm very willing to be patient. So that's just me. Let it go. Move on. Do what you got to do. And, like, I'm not going to give up. Like,
Yeah.
it still hurts, but like I'm gonna keep pushing through. It's just I have to remind myself, don't give up. It's just one project, and like it might flop. So like you never know. You probably like dodged a bullet.
Right.
So I think of it more as that for myself.
Yeah. And that's so fair. But also like give yourself space to feel those feelings. Like, yes, you know, like you said, it is something to get over, but part of getting over the like hurt of whatever it is that you're feeling from like your career is also feeling it and giving her space to feel it, and then being like, okay, cool, I did my best. That's not what they wanted.
Yeah.
So that means there's better.
Correct.
That means there's something better fitting for you. And like you said, that might have been a bullet that you dodged. Like
Correct. So like don't even stress about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know your talent, you know your worth, you know what you're good at, which is everything. To be clear,
Not everything.
Literally everything.
Almost.
We raved about it last episode. I will continue to rave about it. I will rave about it for the rest of my life.
Funny.
No, but seriously, like, what's coming for you is coming. Like, yes, I hope you continue to give yourself that, you know, grace and then validation. Like,
and once that time comes, everyone will know.
Right.
Everyone will know of it.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Like you said last time, listen, I guess it'll be like 2027, 2028, whenever you're 28. Yeah.
I did say that.
You said that last
28
time.
is my year.
And there you go.
So, you know, patience.
coming.
Patience is key.
Already manifesting it.
No, correct.
You got to.
I am manifesting. I am praying. It's all that. I'm putting it in the cards. I'm tossing it up in the air. Yeah.
All the things.
That's so real though, because like it's hard to let things go because like you get so attached to these projects, and when you know that you're personally capable and it comes down to something of like, it's not even like, we're not even talking about like who's capable of doing the role. It's just like who's the right fit, you know? Because like you kind of get to a certain level and you're like, it's no longer the case of like being in high school where it's kind of like there's people who are better for the role than others, you know? You get to a point where like everyone's talented, and it doesn't come down to talent a lot of the time. It just kind of comes down to who's the right fit. And like that's just a million factors that you can't really measure or know about to the extreme. So learning how to let it go and learning for me, learning how to not be jealous then too, is something that I've kind of had to really work on, because I feel like specifically when you're in school, it can feel very competitive.
Absolutely.
Because you're in a lot of ways, like you're auditioning against your friends. And so it can feel very competitive, and it can feel very much like it's me against you. And getting out of school, I kind of had to learn that I'm like, we're not against each other anymore. Like if anything, it's being out of school has taught me how to be more supportive of like my circle and like cheering on my friends, because knowing that it's like we're all capable and we're all just like, we're just waiting for our time. We're waiting for that moment where we all get recognized for the talents that we all have. And so learning how to not be jealous of seeing other people take steps forward that I personally also want to be able to take. And that's been a journey, and it's been a little hard, but like as you kind of start practicing it, it becomes easier, and then it can be uplifting for yourself to see other people make it or take those steps forward, because you're like, if you can do it, I know I can do it, because like we're all on the same team here, you know.
Yeah. And I think we kind of like got into that at the end.
Yeah,
of,
that was the very end.
Yeah, like literally, probably like the last 4 to 5 minutes of the last
There it is.
Because
episode.
there were some stories that needed to be told about
Yeah.
like jealousy.
Oh yeah, and I kind of glimpse of it like back when we were in high school, having gone to a performing arts high school, and I saw it more so in like the theater department.
Yeah.
But there was definitely like little bits of it in the instrumental department, because you know, people are at some point they were like, okay, we're gonna audition for this solo or these solos, or thankfully they didn't do it for ensembles. They kind of did that by seniority, which I appreciated.
Yeah.
But like the solos were kind of intense, especially because they were intense like pieces. And then God forbid the like school musical audition time, that got a little
Hectic.
yeah,
A lot of jealousy in the room.
yeah.
You want to talk about that? Let's talk about that.
And mothers, I do remember the involvement of mothers for
Oh
one
my
particular
gosh.
show.
My last show, correct?
Yes,
Yup.
absolutely. We know exactly
Like,
what
yeah,
show.
that was a time.
Yeah, we all remember that because we were like, how? And then we found out how. The entire cast found out how.
You were
And
like,
we
how'd you get that part? Your mother?
Your mother came in and pitched a fit. Pitch with a P. But the other one works too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I distinctly remember that. And I kind of remember you telling me a little bit about that also, like even with AMDA.
Yes. Or like it was more so like
Was it after?
kind of during AMDA, because like our fourth semester, the main goal is that we have to go out and audition for stuff. And like you said, like we were auditioning with friends, and these are like real life auditions. Like, so after you graduate, you had a show to like get into and like actually get paid for and like put on your resume. And there was a time, I'm not a jealous person. Like I am all for like my group. Like, you know me. Like everyone's champions in my book. And there was a time where I went to a Dreamgirl audition with 3 of my friends. Yeah, 3 of my friends.
Yeah.
And like, not gonna lie, we ate to where we all like made it to like the final callback. But there was this point in time, one of my friends, she forgot the song that she wanted to do. And she was freaking out. Like her book was just not right. And she was freaking out. And as the good person I am, I'm like, you know what? You could take my audition song. Like, I know you know it like front and back. You can just take my audition song and like I'll figure something out. And she did. And obviously when it came time for my turn, I'm like, I'm not gonna sing the same song as her. So I'm gonna try my best to like pick a different song. And I did. And ultimately, like at the end, she booked the job as being understudy for Dina. And then I didn't.
Yeah.
And like it did hurt, but I'm like, you know what? At least one of us like got in, and I'm very proud of you, very happy for you. And I was like very proud and happy, and like I did like take time to like be upset with myself and everything. I'm like, I know I shouldn't have done that, but like she needed this more than I did, because she did grow up off of Dreamgirls like crazy. Like she was talking about how she would watch it since she was 3 and all that type of business. So I'm like, you know, you needed this more than I did. And that's like, I wasn't jealous, but then it came a time where I auditioned for Daniel Tiger. And the same friend, not the one who booked Dreamgirls, but she was also in the room with us for Dreamgirls. She didn't get like the final callbacks like we did. So like we did feel bad. But then me and her went to the Daniel Tiger audition. And first off, I didn't even want to audition for this. Okay. I was like, I don't want to do it. Like, it's not for me. She was like, no, like, please come to the audition room with me. Ba-da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. So I did. And the next thing you know, I got a call back and she didn't. And I was like, oh, okay, well, like, that's okay. I'm like, you know, I might not even get it. Like, we'll see. And then I go to final callback, and then obviously I get it. And like, I share the good news with her. And next thing you know, she blocked me on like everything. And I was like, what just happened? And she was like, I'm tired of seeing all my friends like book in front of my face and I'm just getting nothing. Like, I don't even want to be around it. And I'm like, girl,
that's crazy,
right? I'm like, you forced me to come to this audition. I wasn't even looking to like be a part of this project. And it just so happened that the director was also like the choreographer. So like, she just liked my energy like over hers, and I'm like, first off, you can't even get mad at me. I didn't even want to go here.
Right.
Like, it just so happened that I booked it. It was meant for me. I'm sorry that you feel that way, but like, keep auditioning. Like, something is out there. And like, she just removed herself from our group chats, blocked us. I'm like, you know what? You take the time, the space, all you need. But like, it did hurt that like you just did that because I booked something. I'm like, girl, I could have did that to our other friend, but I chose not to because
Right.
like, again, we are all in this together. It's time to be a team. And like, obviously she just wasn't a team player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Right?
Like, it. We talked a little, like Kira and I, we had talked about, you know, what it's like to be in like this competitive field and try and make friends, but we haven't really addressed like what it's like going into it with friends, with your peers,
Yeah.
and dealing with the jealousy of that. Like, of course, there's jealousy with people that you already don't know.
Yeah.
And you can obviously like see their talent and realize like, oh, okay, you're competition.
Like, okay, you can sing. I
Right.
see you. I
It's
see
like,
you.
oh, you're okay. You're doing the things. You're doing the things the same way that I am,
Yeah.
or better. But going into it with like friends who you know their capabilities already, but you also love and support them and want to love and support them, even if they go further in the process than you do. Like, yeah, that's hard.
Yeah.
That's a different type of jealousy. Like,
Yeah.
you started talking about it. You have
No,
more
correct.
to say.
I was gonna say, and it's just kind of, it's so hard. Like, I remember being in college, but like auditioning for like summer theater jobs or whatever, like outside of school, things that can build your resume, and so like it feels like a really big opportunity, and fighting that urge to feel like if I didn't get a call back but you did, like there's almost that urge to take it as like, are you trying to like hurt my career by like doing so well? Like, it's like like your friend getting mad at you for booking Daniel Tiger, like she's almost acting as if like, again, you're doing that to hurt her.
Yeah.
And it's like, this was not a personal thing. I was just going to support you.
Right.
Exactly.
I wasn't trying to beat you out of this job or anything.
You're like, I didn't want it.
Yeah, I kept telling her I'm not going, and she was like, "Yes, you are."
Exactly.
And I'm like, "Okay."
And like, there's also a thing that like people like, as someone I'm not a great dancer. Like, I know that about myself. Dancing is not the first thing I list on my resume as a special skill. But sometimes like just being able to dance can get you into a callback or like into a room of like, just like, you need dancers for this show. And like, sometimes if you can't dance, that could be a reason why you're not getting called back into the room. And so I remember having to kind of come to terms with that, of like having friends that were better dancers, like just objectively, like no shade, no anything. It's like, you're a better dancer than me. And so dealing with that frustration of seeing them go on, not purely because they can dance, but sometimes like it feels like that's the reason, and feeling like, I'm getting overlooked just because I can't dance. And it's like, that's not their fault. You
Right.
know, that like they can dance and that the people behind the table just happen to be looking for dancers. And like, that's nobody's fault, you know. And you can't really get upset at your friend. You can be upset at the situation and be like, dang, I know I'm perfect for whatever this project is. If you would just give me a chance to show you my other skills or talents or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But it takes some time to kind of learn that for yourself. And then at the same time, what helps is being surrounded by the people in your circle who do want to see you succeed, because they also know that you're excited to see them succeed. And so then once you can kind of find those people, I feel like for me, it kind of made the whole experience of auditioning for things more exciting, because there was no longer this fear of sharing your good news. There was no longer this like animosity of kind of like being in competition with your friends, which is just a hard thing in general to deal with. And so, yeah, I think like dealing with jealousy comes down to like, who are you surrounding yourself with? And like, if you can find that core group of people that all are kind of working together to support each other and lift each other up, then it changes the whole experience, you know?
No, yeah. Like having a community, regardless of even if they're in like the same field as you, but having that community, and especially for those who are in the same field as you, like that does make a difference if you're able to, you know, still support each other, even if, you know, you may be auditioning for the same thing
Yeah.
and only one of you got it. Like, I think that makes successful a little bit better, to know that like regardless of what the outcome is of, you know, an audition or whatever, you still have the people that maybe experienced it with you to support you even if they aren't a part of it.
Yeah.
And that does change a little bit the feeling, because like I feel like I've seen or heard like a lot of experience where they're like, yeah, you know, went into this with my friend, kind of like your experience of went into this with my friend and walked out of it without the friend. And that, you know, it made it hard for them to celebrate their own win, because they're, you know, not just if they're like worried about managing their friends' feelings, but like, yeah, they're kind of worried about, you know, oh, I don't want to celebrate because I don't want to make them feel worse. And that's, ooh.
Yeah,
I feel like he has a story he should share about that.
I've had that experience for sure. Like, it was my senior year of college, and we were auditioning for the spring shows, and I got cast as a lead in the musical. It was my first like lead principal role in my college experience, so I was very excited. And so like the cast list came out on like whatever Friday night, and I called my parents, and I was so excited. It wasn't a very long conversation because my parents were doing something themselves. Like, we love you, we gotta run though. Okay. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I then was like, I will reach out to my girlfriend now. At the time, it was not Mia, but my girlfriend at the time. And she was also cast in a show, but it wasn't the show she wanted to be in. It wasn't the role she wanted. So she was a little downtrodden. And I totally get that. But I was also like trying to share my excitement with someone who was close to me and someone who I assumed would be excited for me.
Yeah.
But it didn't turn out to be that way. And I actually spent the whole night consoling her. And then just hearing her talk about, she's like, I mean, like, I'm excited for you, but like, I don't even know if I could come see you in that show unless I'm like just drunk out of my mind, because like
intoxicated,
because she was mad at the way the cast list looked. Like, she's like, and this other person got a role, but they get cast and stuff all the time, so I don't know why they're in this role again. Like, it's like, which is a whole other conversation about like sometimes in schools, an educational environment should be geared towards giving people opportunities, and it's not always about casting who's perfect for the role, because it could be that the same person is perfect for like
everything,
4 shows in a row. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But in an educational environment, should it not kind of share the wealth a little bit more? Probably. But of course, I don't think any school is perfect at that, and you do kind of see those people get cast over and over. And so there was a little bit of that going on in the show that I had been cast in. And so she was frustrated at that. She was frustrated at her own outcome, and so she just couldn't be excited for me at all. And I felt like I really had to stop that whole semester. Like, I couldn't talk about my experience in the show and like my excitement for like, oh, I think it's going to be really cool, I'm really excited, because she just didn't want to hear it. And it was one of many problems, and that relationship ended, but it was
but on that subject, that's just wild to me. Like,
yeah,
for one, sorry you experienced that and you weren't able to like, you know, celebrate your win.
Well, and the funny thing is, that was the spring of 2020, so the show didn't even end up happening because it got canceled for COVID.
Yeah,
but you know,
but still, like, that was, you know,
exactly.
at least 6 weeks of celebration you could have
totally had. Yeah,
I think that says a lot, like, about that experience of not not being able to do that, which is also insane. Like, the need to, I can't be there unless I'm intoxicated.
Right.
Like,
wild statement. Wild statement.
Which
you can't
really,
even support me.
Which like outside of like a romantic relationship, it was just hard of like her being someone who I thought was in my inner circle of people that I'm like, you care about me and you want to see me succeed. It almost felt like you don't really want to, like, do you not want to see me like succeed and have this great opportunity? Yeah. Especially when it's like, I'm super excited. Can't you be excited for me a little bit?
Yeah. It's like that same,
not to like downplay at all like their frustration, because like I understand it's hard when you didn't get what you wanted but the people around you did, and you kind of have to put your own feelings aside a little bit. I get that, but also
it's like, don't take me down with you.
Right.
Like,
Right.
It's that same sentiment of like, oh, you can't support me if you're not also succeeding.
Right.
Like, is that really a support system, or is that just convenient? Like, for what's happening to you? No, that's a whole like different challenge, a whole different ball game, especially like with the same sentiment of like jealousy, but also support, community within your field and outside of it. Like, like you said, you thought that was someone that was, of course, aside from being your partner, but like your support system.
Yeah.
And it also happened that she's like in the same field as you.
Right.
Still don't get it regardless. Like,
No, yeah.
And also, like, you never know, like, the stuff that your friend could, like, book, like, they could put in a good word for you. You never, like, you never know.
everybody's a reference.
Exactly. And also, when my friends be booking, I'd be like, I need a comp ticket because I would love to come see you. And then, like, you wind up doing that. And then y'all heard me talk about Elf so much.
No,
like,
literally. Did I go see it? No.
It's okay. It's okay. It was a great
I really
show.
wanted
But,
to
like,
see it.
at least my friend, like, got me to, like, get to meet the cast and to, like, go to an after party.
Insane.
Like, you never know. And then, like, I got to sit there and network with people. So, like, now they know my name. So just in case, like, they need someone, they can, like, think of me. They have my name, number, all that. So, like, yeah, just don't be jealous. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, your friend could take you to success with them if, like,
Yeah.
you're not,
Yeah.
like, a B word. Like, you know?
No, that also makes me think of like changing your perspective from stop trying to book the project and try to book the room. When you go into the room, you want to do your best and you want to win over the people behind the table so that even if like they end up going a different direction with whoever they decide to cast in whatever role you're auditioning for, if you can still show off your talents and show that you're like, I'm a great person to work with, and that hopefully in future projects that these people are casting or directing or whatever, they'll think of you to come in and audition and potentially cast in future stuff. And like, I feel like that's the real business of like, we talk about like the actual acting is only like 10% of the work of what it is to be an actor. Like, and like the other 90% is like auditioning and like building those relationships and learning how to network with people so that you keep getting invited back into the room to audition.
Exactly.
Because one job is one job. The career comes from being able to you get into
Plethora.
those rooms over and over again, you know?
Yeah.
Talk to as many people as you can, man.
Yeah.
Just do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I really like that idea of like working the room and ultimately just getting yourself out there to the point where it's like, yeah, they may not decide on you, but that doesn't mean that they don't know of something else that's going on and pass your name along of like, hey, just audition this person. Not quite right for mine, but I think they'd be great for yours. Like
Exactly.
that transferability of like, okay, cool. They still deserve to be somewhere else, or they need to be somewhere else because I see that working for them. Like that's a whole different skill. That's a whole separate task to work on. And I think that's like you said, that sounds like the hardest part is staying in people's minds, staying in people's heads of like, okay, you're not taking me, but put me somewhere else.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and like, I don't know if you guys know Joshua Henry, big Broadway guy.
Yeah.
Of course, right? He talks about this stuff all the time. I love seeing the videos he posts on social media because he is a big, I was going to say, spokesperson for growing yourself and just knowing it's like, if it's meant for you, it can't miss you. And so you just kind of have to keep working on yourself. You don't have to think about the competitive nature of like who's going to end up getting the job. Like, you're just trying to grow yourself. You're trying to put your best foot forward every time you walk into the room. And then when the right project comes along, like, there's no way it can miss you because you're out here making sure that it doesn't. So
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So many good things have been like said. And I feel like that this was like a good round out to last episode and kind of like what you've learned and what you're both navigating and experiencing.
Yeah.
But before, we close anything down, are there any other, I guess, things that you have learned or want to put out there, advice that you want to give from either of you, additional advice that you want to give?
I'm so into networking. Like, I'm so serious. I feel like I can just like talk and like, again, show my personality to like said people. And then like also it's New York, so you never know who you're gonna run into.
Literally.
I do have like a little story. Like, last night I was at work. I'm a hostess at a restaurant and we were singing happy birthday. There was so many birthdays yesterday.
Ooh.
And obviously I'm not gonna downplay my voice. I'm a happy birthday. I'm gonna do that all for you. And like, when I did that, I didn't know that there was a well-known vocal coach who was sitting in the restaurant, and he like came over and was like, do you sing or anything? I was like, I mean, like, yeah, like I just came off tour and everything, so like I want to like work up to Broadway. And he was
Casual.
like, exactly,
Right,
Just on
it
tour.
was very casual, like, you know, we just making conversation.
throw
He
it
was
out there.
like, you have an excellent voice and I would love to become your coach. Next thing you know, just got all his information. Like, it's just New York. Like, walk around, you never
Perfect
know
place
who you're
for
gonna
it.
run into. So like now I feel like I got a vocal coach because I've been trying to look for that. Like, you know, I've been talking about like looking for one, because like I've just fallen off and I need like help again, just like strengthen my voice back. But networking
Yeah.
is important. You never know who you're gonna run into. You never know who's gonna take your information and then share it with like other places, because his kids that he has been teaching are on Broadway now, like literally in like Lion King type stuff. Exactly. And I've expressed to him like Lion King is one of my shows, even though I want to be Rafiki. Everyone sees me as a Nala. I'll take it, whatever. I'll take what I can get. But like he was like, I would like strengthen your voice to become a Nala. And I was like, fine, whatever.
Like, whatever I can get.
You know, I just want to be in the show. Like, okay, thank you. But yeah, networking is very huge.
Always.
Absolutely.
Thank you. What about you?
I would say when it comes to being in this industry and especially seeing projects and like being in a world in which we're trying to promote more diversity, equity, and inclusion, it kind of starts with you. Like you of course want to see the organizations and stuff take steps forward to be more inclusive, but then on top of that, it becomes on you to then, when you see those projects that are searching certain demographics of people or certain projects that you think would be great for your friend, reach out to your friends and put it on your social media and be like, if anyone's interested in this project, it sounds really cool, and if you fit these criteria, then go audition and like try to help propel forward the change you want to see, you know?
Yeah.
And so like, and it can start on a very personal level of like, you're just reaching out to your friends, and then it kind of grows into like, all of a sudden you have this community of like, I feel like I have so many friends that I see posting on their stories each day, people that'll randomly like send me a text of like, have you seen the listing for this, because I think you'd be perfect for this, and they're searching for replacements, so if you're free on Wednesday, whatever it is. And like, as you kind of build that community for yourself, you never know how it's going to grow for someone else, and then all of a sudden it's just everyone's working together to kind of create that inclusivity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, surround your people who like are actually there to support you.
Yeah.
Because once I got that vocal coach,
It's huge.
I gave them out to like all my friends. I
It's
was like,
huge.
hey, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, you know, just
Yeah.
help each other out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And bring each other up. Like,
Exactly.
that, I think that's a whole other like part to having that community, is like, yeah, kind of like how we talked about before. I want to win, but I also want to see you all win too.
Yeah.
And that includes sharing resources, sharing opportunities, and collaborating with each other. Because these are going to be the people that you're working with regardless at whatever stage you're in.
Right.
The people that are coming up with you now are going to be the people that, you know, you're trying to connect to in the future when you are at a bigger stage.
Yeah.
So keeping that community, keeping that contact, keeping and creating that level of collaboration makes a huge difference for both your now and your future.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
I
thank you
love
both.
that. Thank
Of
you. This was
course.
so much fun.
It
Yeah.
was. Well, thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for joining us.
Of course.
If you haven't checked out the previous episode 4, where we initially meet Mia, please go do so, and then come back and, you know, watch this one if you happen to watch it without watching the previous one. And we will see you all next time.
Yay.